Bear, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, a lot of interaction inside the huddle. We'll get back to more LSU basketball coming up inside the second hour, but NFL Combine rolling on, getting on the field drills. LSU's got 16 Tigers in Indianapolis. Everybody talking about Joe Burrow. Kat Terrell, who covers the Saints for The Athletic. She's a must-follow on Twitter, a must-read if you're looking for Saints or NFL information. She's up in Indy at the Combine and joining us here on this Thursday morning. Good morning, Kat. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
Doing good. Are they still talking about Burrow's hands?
I think we've finally exhausted that topic. Now we start talking about our own hands and how one measures hands, because apparently the NFL teams have this very elaborate system of doing it.
Well, there's no scientific way to measurement. I think the NBA does it differently than the NFL does it. Some teams do it differently than they do it at the Combine. I mean, what is – it's crazy down here, right? Obviously, we're making fun of it, and everybody's measuring their hands and tweeting out the picture. And
I'm 9 inches, by the way.
Everybody can play NFL quarterback over 9-inch hands. But what is even she knows.
Yeah, but Kat, here's the deal.
Welcome to OTB, Kat.
Here's the deal, Kat. Tiny hands are the new big hands. So I feel very comfortable in my tiny handsmanship.
I mean, every time I measure my hands up to someone else's, they're big. So I don't know. Maybe it's like that Seinfeld episode where it's just man hands. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm 10 inches. But apparently, it's something to do with the webbing between your fingers,
restrictive webbing. Makes sense.
The Bengals player personnel director was explaining it to reporters in very thorough detail about hand webbing. So I don't know this process.
Did anybody ask the Bengals GM, "Are you guys just going to take Joe?" Come on. Is it as crazy it is in Indianapolis as it is in Baton Rouge that everybody's dissecting his hands?
Maybe the other day. That was kind of more of a Twitter thing. We were all just joking about it. But as the other question, I mean, I wasn't really talking to him, but I just feel like everyone just now talks like he's going there. Even just if you're casually talking to people in organizations, it's like, oh yeah, when Joe gets here, stuff like that. If he didn't go there, it would be the surprise of the century. Which would be great. Chaos is great. I love chaos.
We're talking to Kat Terrell of The Athletic. She covers the New Orleans Saints there. You should go check out her work. Kat, outside of Joe Burrow's tiny hands, what have been the other big stories to emerge out of the Combine?
Man, there really aren't that many yet.
Yeah.
Yesterday, offensive linemen talked. And, offensive linemen are so boring. Who would ever want to talk to them?
Yes, we do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, nothing really came out of that. So it's interesting. Everyone's talking about the schedule. It's just really weird. It's not a great schedule. So yesterday, there was just all this free time for coaches, and they were just wandering around with nothing to do. So this night schedule isn't really going over well.
Yeah, what about where the Saints personnel heads are at going into this Combine? Do you know of any players or maybe position groups that they're going to be looking at more intensely than others?
Obviously, wide receiver is going to be a top priority, but I think cornerback could be a really interesting one for them, and interior alignment. Those three position groups probably could be what they're targeting in the first round. I'm not ready to say they would take a first-round cornerback, but I think they would look at it because Eli Apple is just so inconsistent down the stretch. I'm not sure if they think it's worth it to re-sign him, but they do have Jackrabbit now, so I don't know. That's an interesting thing to watch over the next few months.
You said cornerback. Would they look at quarterback?
I think they would look at quarterback if the right situation fell into their lap.
What would that be? A certain player?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think so. I mean, if they don't have to use a bunch of resources to get a quarterback, maybe if I don't know, Fromm or someone falls in their lap, I think that could be a possibility. I know I kept saying Tua over the last few weeks, but I just don't realistically think Tua is all of a sudden going to be anywhere near where the Saints are picking.
Do you anticipate that they would make a move for a quarterback? Is there a name that they are enamored with that you've heard that they could possibly move up to get?
Probably not. I really don't think that in their minds this year they have the resources, I'd say draft capital-wise, to make some sort of huge move. But He has surprised me before. I just don't really see it happening this year.
Kat, so the NFL Combine's going on right now. We're talking to Kat Terrell of The Athletic. Follow her on The Athletic. It's my favorite sports site. The Combine's going on right now, but kind of in the background of everything, the NFL Players Association, well, at least some of the team leaders, the 32 team leaders, they approved this new CBA from the owners 17-14, one vote abstaining. So it now goes to a full league-wide vote, but it's been interesting that here they are, they approved it, but like you have Aaron Rodgers coming out against it. The Pouncey brothers have been very vociferous against this thing. Have you talked to anybody in that Saints locker room? Do you have any idea how New Orleans is feeling about this new proposed CBA?
I don't really think that people see it as a good deal for the players. That's the kind of the vibe I get in Indy. Just, why would the players approve this? And
yeah.
That's what's going to be so fascinating to watch over the next 2 weeks, as I think they said it was 2 weeks, so they could bring it to a full vote. I mean, it's been one day. Players are just fighting on Twitter about all of this craziness. So, I mean, I don't think that when you look at all of the terms of CBA and things like that it's really a great deal for them. I mean, they get vision now. I don't know why they didn't have that before. I mean, but you're not going to look at the CBA and say, oh, they get vision perks now. They should sign their $100 increase in the minimum salary. They should definitely sign it. But the owners do have the leverage here, really. So I don't know. They might be able to put the pressure on the players to approve it. Let's hope so, or else we'll be talking about this for the next 8 months.
Well, and that's where it gets interesting, though, right? Is that like some of the reaction from your most prominent voices has been so like this is a bad deal for the players. How did they get those original 17 votes, do you think, originally to send this to the full membership vote?
I think not that this isn't really from talking to anyone, but just from what I've been reading, it kind of seems like they almost felt rushed to do it. I get the sense that the owners want this done because if there's a recession coming or anything like that, then the TV money could change significantly. So the owners really have a strong urge to get this done. And from the players' perspective, the new CBA could affect off-season activities, so maybe that's where they feel this rush to get this done. But I almost feel like the owners somehow just kind of pressured them into voting and trying to rush this thing along. But I don't think we've heard the end of this by any means. I don't think it's a sure thing it gets passed.
Kat Terrell joining us here, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Alexandria. She covers the Saints for The Athletic. We mentioned that they're at 24, and wide receiver could be something that attracts him at that spot. Is Justin Jefferson in play there?
I think so. I think he should be. Well, remember, the Saints don't take LSU people, so that could never happen.
Yeah,
kidding. I think Will Clapp would disagree. I think he would be a great fit for the Saints.
Yeah.
And I think conceivably he could be around. I know some people have him going in the top half of the first round, but I think he's one of those guys that could still be around. I wrote this article the other day, and it was about 6 wide receivers that could fit in the first round for the Saints, and I didn't even list 2 of them that would be gone. I mean, that shows you it's such a deep wide receiver class.
Kat joining us here, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. All right, Kat, what about the LSU guys? Any of them standing out here early on?
I'm trying to think. I'm like, who has stood out so far? There haven't been that many drills, so I'm just really going off interviews.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously Burrow, the way he handled that interview. I don't know if you meant LSU guys that could go to the States or just any LSU guys, but the way Joe Burrow handled all these media questions was just phenomenal. Someone was saying, have you ever seen a prospect just like casually grab a folding chair and pull it up to the podium? Like all the players stand except Burrow. He's like, you gotta drag this.
Oh, I didn't realize that is an alpha move right there.
That is so good.
Yeah, it was funny.
Did he flip it around backwards, AC Slater style, or did he sit in it forward facing?
I think he sat in it like a normal person. I didn't really inspect how he was sitting in the chair. But.
Well, Kat, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but you can text me after the show. We can go over some. I can probably help you out a little bit.
I should be more observant.
The devil's in the details, Kat. That's what they say.
I know. You are so right. I need to be a better journalist. That's what I'm going to do when I get off this interview.
Enjoy Indianapolis. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right,
there she
Kat, take
is
it easy.
From The Athletic, Kat Terrell joining us